the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8 with this new form factor, because this is the one that's been getting most of the attention, and a lot of people have been talking about it because the Z Fold 8 Ultra is the familiar one, right? It's an upgrade we all were expecting. This is something that's new and it's different. So this has been very interesting for me, right? Because one thing that I like about it, super light, 201 grams. So this is the lightest fold device, not flip device, by the way, just the lightest fold device. Again, very thin, not as thin, but still very thin. And it's got this new form factor, and it's pretty much the size of a passport. I actually compared it to a passport in my video, and I was just like, it's almost exactly the size of a standard passport, just maybe slightly smaller, you know, slightly shorter and slightly wider, right? Now, a few initial sort of impressions I've had of this. Firstly, it rocks on the table like the Z Fold 8 Ultra does, but more so because it's wider. It's like the balance is completely off. Like it rocks like anything, if that matters to you. I'm just putting it out there. Some people won't care
See,
or
I
whatever.
just oh, never mind. I was gonna say I disagree because I was about to do it now, and I realized that I've got a case of mine. So
Yeah.
it does. Yeah, you're right.
So having a case will reduce that. So that's something that you might want to consider. But let's talk about the cover screen before we talk about the folding screen. So this cover screen, honestly, it's been pretty good overall. One thing that I will say that I like is the typing experience is a lot more comfortable on the cover screen of the Fold 8 versus the Fold 8 Ultra, right? Fold 8 Ultra,
Mhm.
absolutely fine, great for your day-to-day. But when it comes to the keyboard, obviously it's still relatively narrow compared to a regular smartphone. With the Z Fold 8, it's even wider, so it makes it even easier. So when you're typing away, it's so easy and I like it. The one thing that I don't like is it sometimes cuts off the content because it's not as tall, right? As soon as the keyboard pops up, more than half your screen is just gone, right? So you could be like, I could be talking to Enabong on Telegram, for example, and then all I'm seeing is a small strip, right? So what was funny is today I was in Google Photos, and you'll see this on screen. It was telling me about people familiar in my photo gallery, right?
Mhm.
And I was just like, oh yeah, let me just put names, so then it kind of groups them up. And then you came up. So I'm typing Enabong, but I can't see that I'm typing Enabong. I could type, but the text field is completely hidden. And that's something that I have noticed because this is a very different form factor. Now, will things be optimized a little bit more over time? Possibly, but the fact that the keyboard takes up quite a significant chunk of the screen, that is something that I have noticed. What about you?
Yes, I have noticed that too. I think it's one of those things where you are right. Software has to adapt back,
Hmm.
because we have that with like the keyboard, which is very glaring, where typically because we've got longer form factors, right?
Hmm.
We can even do a split screen and still type on, say, like a text message while looking at maybe a video on top or something, which you just can't do, which is why you gotta open up the
Hmm.
device. So I think that's going to be the case. The one thing that I need to see is apps taking advantage of the internal display.
Hmm.
I don't mean by apps, I'm talking about social media apps. So whether it's TikTok or IG, they don't necessarily balance out well on that internal display. On the cover display, like Instagram, you see only one post per time, which I like. Some people don't like. I think that that's the best way to stop you from doom scrolling because you go like one, two, and then you're like, okay, I've
One
seen
at a
enough.
time.
Yeah, I've seen enough and that's it. As opposed to like you typically you just go, I just go through and go away. So I think there's some things that are a little bit of growing pains because, even though which we'll talk about more, people will say, Samsung copied Apple, even though Apple has not released a device like this. This exact form factor size has
Yeah.
not been released by anyone because even the Huawei Pure Mate X, it's a different size form factor from this as well.
Mm.
Even though it's the
Yeah.
same passport style, it's a different size form factor in general. So this is very different. And this is where we'd love to see what Google and Samsung do with adaptable software because now we're getting to ranges where, there's so many different sizes that your
Mm.
software has to work for. But again,
Yeah.
like you, I'm enjoying this device.
It's different, and one thing that I do like is the folding screen. So you mentioned the folding screen, and that's something that I do like because you mentioned Instagram. Now Instagram kind of punches in a little bit. I'm not sure if you've noticed on it on the cover
Yeah.
screen. So it kind of takes off the top and bottom. So now most content is fine, but if this 9:16 content, it kind of crops the top and bottom, and then you kind of have to go into the main display to do that. But talking about this main display, to me, the crease is less visible on this compared to the Z Fold 8 Ultra, and that's because it's wider, right? It's got
Yeah.
more space for it to spread out, and also because it doesn't have flex mode, right? So although you can kind of prop it up a little bit like that, it will eventually just snap back, and it will also there's no software for the flex mode. Now, one of the things when I've been using the Z Fold 7, and I kind of got used to this because I was using it for quite some time until I went on to the S26 Ultra. When I'm sitting down with my coffee in the morning, right, I'll kind of be catching up with videos and stuff. And that's when flex mode for me was perfect because I'll just have YouTube on there. I don't need a kickstand. I can just have that on there and I can have it playing and it's brilliant. And that's something that I really did enjoy. This not having flex mode on here, although yes, you could just put a video on and stuff like that. It's just not the same having the proper flex mode. And that's something that I am missing and something that, I've gotten used to on fold
Yeah.
devices in the past few years. Is that something you've missed?
Um, yes, because one of the things that I used to use flex mode on was like emulators, because you could basically put, at the bottom, you could put the control pad and you can have the game running at the top. Because there's no flex mode, eh, good luck.
Yeah. Mm,
So things like that, which are nice, like I say, creature comforts. Like
yeah.
that's also the reason you want to get a foldable is that like you treat it as your own creature comfort because you can put it in. I remember when maybe it was like the Fold 3 or 4 where Samsung had got to like you could put 7 apps at once or something like that. Not saying you should, but the fact that you can and you can customize your own experience is one of the things that allowed me to enjoy foldables a lot. It was like,
Mm,
hey, I like to game, and now I can play all those emulated games without looking for a controller or thinking because I'd already have the setup for it. In this
mm,
case, not so much. But it's one of those things that I think Samsung has to reconsider with the
yeah.
Fold 9. To
Mm.
see, okay, look, can we balance this out? Because we can provide something that people will enjoy, especially with the form factor that AK is deemed to be the format that Christopher Nolan has authorized.
By the way, I disagree with, let me just, before we go into that, okay, 4:3 is the old format, and this is what we've got on the Z Fold 8 when you have the device open, which is great for certain things. You get less black bars on most videos than you would do on the Fold 8 Ultra. It's also great for photos, right? Photos are shot in 4:3 because that's just the way the sensor works. It's more square, so, capturing that on there, you're going to get 4:3, and they take up the entire screen, which is beautiful, and I love that, right? I also like for web browsing or reading books and things like that. Amazing, better form factor, right? But I'm going to disagree with Christopher Nolan here, right? Because, and this is the reason why, I'm going to make you do a test, okay? So, Annabong and everybody that's watching this, do a test, right? So, look straight ahead. Put your hands like this. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now move them above and beyond, right? Okay. Now, where did they disappear? About here.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay. Right. Now put them side by side. Okay. Now you can go as far as you want. You're still going to see your hands, right? You can go as wide. And that's because our eyes are left and right, not above and beneath, right? And that's the reason why the widescreen format became a thing, because when we're experiencing things, we can see it at much more of a wider perspective than, top and bottom. So when you're watching a film, for example, having that wider form factor is what is more natural to your eyes rather than having something that's more square. So I'm gonna just put that point there.
Nope. I will artfully disagree because even though SAF's very unscientific test of moving bars up and down, left and right, basically all that tells you that you've got a very good peripheral vision, which means you're seeing on the fringes, but not necessarily seeing anything useful. Now, this allows you to see the scope of everything. And I agree that width is very needed, but the device is wide enough. And one of the best things is that when you put up content, video on both devices on the cover display, you're seeing more on this device than you are on this because of the height and also the width, because there's only so much you can get, and you get those really thinner bars and segments. I mean,
So this is the thing. I would say yes for the Fold, it's fine. As I said, when you're looking at pictures and stuff, it takes up the full screen. Even when you're watching videos, there's less black bars, and it's a smaller screen, right? But when you're watching things on the big screen, you're talking about peripheral,
peripheral vision.
peripheral vision, right? You're gonna have
Yeah.
the same fall off on the top and the bottom anyway, right? As you will do on the left and right, but you're gonna have it quicker on the top and bottom compared to things. So when I'm talking about the big screen, right? It's funny when you see those memes of who's the actor, and he's like looking like, oh my god, you get the front seat and an IMAX, and you're
Oh
just like,
God,
oh.
no man, that's
So
terrible.
that's my argument. Again, I know people are going to disagree with me. Feel free to do so. But in my opinion, when it comes to big screen, at least theater and stuff like that, it needs to be the widescreen is more important than, vertical. On this device, however, absolutely fine. Because guess what? Whether you have it this way or if it's, you're still going to see the full screen, right?
Now,
It's not going to be a problem.
just to end this argument, right? Did you see the Odyssey?
I did.
Did you what format did you see it in?
I watched it in a regular movie theater, man.
Oh, get out of here! Bye.
I don't
Okay,
have any. I
next
don't have
topic.
IMAXs near me, right? Maybe I'm just salty because there's no IMAXs near me. So
See,
they need to
and the
open an
truth
IMAX
comes
in
out.
Leicester. Open an IMAX in Leicester. Don't get me wrong. I like the experience. I love IMAX, experiences. But what I'm saying is that argument of going more square versus wider, I disagree with on the whole for most majority of things, right? And especially for theater.
Guys, this is Saf to review a logic for an argument. Just because there is no IMAX in Leicester, IMAX, please, please, I'm begging you, open
So
up
it,
a 70 millimeter theater for Saf, because
yeah,
we can't have
just for
this
me.
anymore.
So back to the point, great. It's also great for multitasking because you have a bit more width, right? So if you do have two windows open to the side, if you're comparing, I don't know, hotels, and you're like, okay, let's see what the different prices are, really good for that as well. I'd say if you're using I generally don't use any more than two windows when I'm using a foldable anyway. But if you are somebody who wants to use maybe three windows, then obviously the Z Fold 8 Ultra is going to be better for that. Performance-wise, obviously, it's going to keep up regardless because it's got the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy, and that's the same on both of these. Cameras is something that I want to talk about next because although we have, 50 megapixels for the ultra wide camera, you can shoot 8K, you can take macro photos. We have 50 megapixels for the main camera as well. And there's no telephoto. So you are getting an inferior camera package to the Z Fold 8 Ultra. This is starting at £1,700, which means it's significantly more compared to the S26 Ultra, for example. So you're paying significantly more, but you're getting much lower quality cameras. I'm not saying they're bad. They're good cameras, right? Very capable cameras, but they're just not going to be as good as what we're used to on flagship devices, especially with the lack of telephoto. Now, I have a suggestion for Samsung, and I literally fed this back to them directly. I said, in terms of not having a telephoto camera, you can overcome this to a certain extent with AI, right? So we've seen AI enhanced zoom on a lot of devices, namely the pixels, which we'll talk about a little bit later. A lot of this happens on devices as well. You don't even need an internet connection. Other devices like the Honor devices, whether it's the Honor 600 Pro, Honor Magic V 6, or the Honor Magic 8 Pro as well, they use AI to enhance your zoom. So you could, have your single camera zoom in even up to 30 times, and you can still use AI to enhance that zoom and give you good results. And that's would be my workaround of not being able to physically have a telephoto camera in there. But what I'm saying is you're getting good cameras, they're just not flagship level.
I definitely agree on the cameras. I mean, my suggestion is a little different from Samsung. Treat this the same way as Apple treats the Pro and Pro Max, right? Except with one lens. Fine, you're not putting a telephoto in there. Cool, not a problem. I'm fine with that, right? But this is where Samsung, I feel, needs to restructure the way it treats its Ultra and the very next line underneath that. Because basically, at least on the foldable side, you're looking at a Pro Max and Pro situation here, just different,
Mm.
design form factors. But, as long as Samsung has been doing this whole thing of, and I get it, it's taken a while for the tech to get there. 200 main, 50, or before it was 10, 20, 10, whatever the numbers were. Like, we can see your competitors are now matching across the board and giving almost very similar because the main thing with the main and the wide, even for the ultra, is that there's a drop off of levels between the main sensor and the wide sensor, especially when you're recording video, zooming, or doing everything like that. So some level of consistency will definitely help, and that will actually bring it to something like the Z Fold 8 itself. But to your point, it's been a very fun device for me to use. Like, um, in terms of like just watching content, and remember our review last year with the Z Fold 8. I told you that I was using mostly the cover display,
Mm.
as opposed to the. So now I would say at least in the week and almost 2 weeks, right? Is it two
Yeah,
weeks?
2
Yeah,
weeks, 2
2
weeks.
weeks of using the device. I'm about 50, no, 50, 49, 51, 49, where I'm still using mostly the cover display, but I tend to open it up quite a bit more and use the internal, especially if I would really want to like scroll through a bunch of stuff or like, take photos. It's it's a fun device. Like it's got its
It
shortcomings,
is.
but it's a fun device.
And I think it's a good balance between the Z Fold 8 Ultra and the Z Flip 8, right? So it's a good kind of in between. The Z Flip 8, a bit too small, a bit too compact. Z Fold 8 Ultra, okay, it's a bit, tall, but it's not as wide. This is kind of like a good in between. And I do agree that it does make you open up the main display more, but it doesn't mean that you just completely rely on the cover display like you might have done on the Z Fold 7, which was the risk that Samsung was running, right? By making the front display exactly like a smartphone, it's kind of like you sometimes forget that, hey, I can actually open this up. What am I doing, right? So
Yeah.
this is something that I do agree with. It gives a good balance. And also, the battery life has been really good, 4,800 milliamps. So not quite the size of the Z Fold 8 Ultra, but the screens are not as big. So you're not pushing out as many pixels. Battery life for me has also been very, very good. It's also got the faster charging, 45 watts of wide charging, so around 63% in 30 minutes, 20 watts of wireless charging. The one thing I will say is because of its size, depending, say if you've got a car charger where the device is pretty much on a vertical position, the charger might not line up, right?
Yeah.
And that's because this is a different form factor compared to a normal smartphone. And that's something that I have noticed, like, my desktop charger as well. I put it on, and because it's not fully lined up, it takes a lot longer to charge because some of the charges came through very inefficient, let me just add, right? Now, having MagSafe G2.2, I think would have helped. So at least if you have a charger that has MagSafe, it can just snap on and it doesn't matter about the height. So that's something that I think would have helped. So having those magnets included. Yes, you can get a case with magnets and that might help. So that's something that you might want to have a look at, but that's something that I definitely noticed as well because of that height. Pricing
Yeah.
wise, £1,700 or $1,900. So less than what the Z Fold 7 started at, but still pretty pricey. Once again, you can use my affiliate link in the UK to get 5% off. But, you know, what do you think would have been a good price for this?
Honestly, in a perfect world, 15.99.
Mm.
That's my
Yeah,
price point for it.
1599 and
And
1500 in the UK.
yes, and that's why I said like in the US, the trading offers reflect that. But here's the funny thing about the trading offers that I didn't realize. I realized, but like it came to crystallization like before this event. This has nothing to do with device. I just wanted to say it is that like this is a great opportunity for Samsung to get RAM on cheap memory,
Mm.
especially if you're getting high trade-in offers for the S26 Ultra and the Z Fold, because that's using the latest version of memory that we use on devices right now. This is a very good offer for them. And I can see that's why they were aggressive with it. Some might say, are you losing money? No, not really. You're actually they're getting cash back because they can go, okay, we can use this on not necessarily another ultra device, but maybe some of the cheaper phones down the line because RAM price becomes expensive for them to buy it for a cheaper phone. So, that's the benefit we're getting here. But in terms of pricing, I feel 15.99 is the perfect, and I feel like 18.99 should be for the Z Fold Ultra. But we live in a world where RAM pricing has changed everything. So
Storage and RAM is crazy right now. But nevertheless, I think this is going to be a very popular device. I think a lot of what I found personally is a lot of people have been, hey, what's that? That looks quite good. A lot of iPhone users have been kind of very interested in this. And I think it's going to be even more interesting when Apple releases the iPhone Ultra, which is going to be a similar form factor because these are really going to go head to head at that time. So stay tuned for September when we can put that head to head. But overall, Fold 8 and Fold 8 Ultra, great devices. Fold 8 Ultra, quite familiar, but Fold 8 is the new one, and it's been quite an interesting experience using this for the past 2 weeks.